Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have 11 tips for you to make housework and chores a little bit more fun and interesting, whether it be for yourself or for your children. I am not one of those people who enjoys cleaning and tidying and doing housework. I enjoy having cleaned and having a nice tidy and neat house, but I don't actually enjoy doing it. And of course, kids usually end up complaining about doing chores as well, so anything that makes them more engaged in the process and enjoy it more is also a bonus. So some of these tips are more suitable for kids and some are more suitable for adults, or you might enjoy using all of them for yourself. I'm just going to share all of the tips here and you can decide how you use them. My first tip is to use timers. I bought a bunch of these little timers online. You can get them on eBay, on AliExpress, you can probably find them at your dollar store. They are so useful for using them a couple of different ways. First of all, you can time yourself how long chores actually take to do, and when you realize that unloading the dishwasher takes less than 2 minutes and folding and sorting 2 loads of laundry takes less than 7 minutes, it kind of puts things in perspective and it's a little bit more motivating to do your chores, because you could tell yourself, like, really, come on, this takes less than 2 minutes, and then you don't mind doing it because you can't really make a fuss about a chore that takes less than 2 minutes. Ditto for your kids. When they realize, really, this is only going to take you off screens or away from your toys for less than 2 minutes, you can just suck it up and do it. It just feels a little bit less overwhelming, and I promise you, chores actually take quicker than you think they do. Another way of using it is to set it for 5 minutes and just get stuck in with whatever task you're doing and see if you can beat the clock. Or you can set it for 15 minutes and do as much as possible in 15 minutes. So let's say you are sorting laundry. Set your timer for 15 minutes, start sorting your laundry, see if you can get it all done within those 15 minutes, because you don't really want to have to come back to that chore. But if you haven't completed your chore when the timer rings, you have permission to put it aside and move on to something else. I kind of do this when I have a lot to do and I just feel a little bit overwhelmed. Like, let's just say I've got cleaning, laundry, ironing, some food prep, meal planning, whatever. I will break my day up into 15-minute slots and I'll just be like, okay, just laundry for 15 minutes, right, moving on. Just cleaning for 15 minutes, right, moving on. And that way I feel like everything gets done, and what you haven't finished within those 15 minutes you can go back to later, but you're not kind of busy doing a task for a long time and thinking of all these other things that aren't getting done. You will be surprised at how much you can get done in 15 minutes, especially if you're racing to beat the clock. Tip number 2 is specifically for tidying up rather than cleaning, and it's to categorize. So you have asked your child to clean up their bedroom, let's say, and the whole place looks like a bomb site, and there's Lego and toys and clothes and books and all kinds of things. Of course it's going to be overwhelming, especially for a small child, to be told clean up your room. That is one huge task and there's a huge mess and they don't even know where to start. So you can make a game out of it and you can say, pick up everything that has a face on it. So they'll pick up their animals and their stuffed toys and their Lego men, I don't know. And then you can say, right, pick up everything that is red, pick up everything that has wheels on it, pick up everything that is round. So it makes a bit of a game. It makes them focus on the items rather than the whole room as a whole, and it just makes it more fun and enjoyable. You can do this with yourself. If you're in the kitchen and you need to clean the kitchen and it looks like a bomb's gone off in there, tell yourself, pick up everything that is silver, pick up all your silverware and your utensils, clean up everything that is food. Or you can categorize in a different way and say, just clean up this section of worktop or like counter space in the kitchen. Right, now just this section, and just break it up into little categories or bite-sized pieces rather than one huge task. Tip number 3 is one at a time. So let's just say you have a huge mess, your living room is a disaster area, and so is your kitchen, and so is your dining room. Maybe it's Monday, everyone's been home from the weekend, you've been relaxing, and everybody's been making a mess, right? Doesn't that happen? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that's how you're going to clean up your house. You're going to focus on one item to completion. So let's just say your entire living room's a mess. Go in there, pick up one glass that somebody's left there and deal with it to completion. So you'll take the glass to the kitchen, put it in the dishwasher, shut the dishwasher, done. You're not having things being just moved from space to space, because doesn't that happen? You go, oh, I'm going to pick up the glass and a plate and then this and that, and then you carry it through to the kitchen. There's no space on the counter space, so you put it on the dining room table. Then you see something on the dining room table. Oh, this needs to be put in the closet, so you carry that to the closet. Then you see laundry lying there that needs to be taken to the laundry room, and you end up just shuffling things around the house and not actually finishing anything. So if you just take it one thing at a time and deal with that thing right into completion. So dining room table, pick up I don't know, a letter that's there, read the letter, put the envelope into the recycling bin, file the letter, whatever, until that item is completely dealt with, and then move on to the next thing. Yes, it will take longer, but you don't have to look at the big picture all at once. You just have to look at that one item and finish that one item off, so that it's dealt with, out of the way, and completely sorted before moving on to the next thing. My next tip is kind of the opposite of that, and it's sort and delegate. So instead of dealing with one item at a time to completion, you might want to just sort things. So go into the living room, right, everything that goes into the kitchen, put that into a plastic bin. Everything that goes into your child's room, put that into a plastic bin. Everything that goes into the laundry, put that in a plastic bin. And then get your kids and your husband and whoever else is there to deal with the plastic bin and to sort everything out in there, and that's their job. You don't have to do it. You've broken it down already into a smaller thing to deal with. They can deal with that small thing. You don't have to do everything yourself, obviously, unless you're home alone. But even if you are home alone and you are doing everything yourself, then you have little chunks to deal with. A plastic bin that goes into one place, like your child's bedroom, and everything can get sorted in that one place, rather than you backwards and forwards with one item at a time. So I know that this tip and the previous one contradict each other, but just figure out what works for you and what works for the situation. They might be more useful at different times for you, or you might find that one is more helpful than the other. Tip number 5 is to race. If you have multiple children, you can generate a little bit of healthy competition between them and get them to race each other in doing their chores. For example, if you give them each a pile of clean washing to put away into their own bedrooms, they can race each other to see who gets done first. Or you can give them similar chores in the house that take roughly about the same amount of time, and they can race to see who can complete them first. You can also race yourself if you have timed your chores and you know that it roughly takes you so many minutes to complete a chore. See if you can beat your best time and race yourself. Bonus, everything gets done that much quicker. Tip number 6 is sweeten the deal. I don't like the term bribery, it sounds so nasty. I prefer incentives. If you have a little child who is picking up things around a room, maybe if they've picked up so many items, they get an M&M, and you can incentivize the way through the process, and you can do the same for yourself, obviously. Tip number 7 is similar, and I call it this before that. So for example, if your child enjoys a particular TV program when they get home from school, or at 4 p.m, let's say they have to complete a chore, put away their washing before they watch the show. So there's a little bit of a deadline there, which can make them just that much more motivated. But if it's something on Netflix or YouTube or something, or if it's a different kind of activity that doesn't really have a set time, you can set the time as well. Or they could just not enjoy that activity until they've done their chores, and it's up to them how long that takes. You can do the same for yourself. You can set little rules, like you're not allowed to check Instagram until you have put on your load of washing for the day, or you don't go and, I don't know, read blogs until you've done whatever cleaning that you have set for the day. Just give yourself a little reward, which is something that you would normally do, but only once you've got your job done. Tip number 8 is to use music. Music can add so much energy to the room. It can really kind of get you going and get you motivated. You can have fun while you're cleaning and tidying, because you can just be having a little bop by yourself. And it can also kind of serve as a timer. You know, let's try and clear this area before the end of the song. Tip number 9 is to use your friends, and you can do this in 2 ways. I find it really helpful to get on Skype with a friend, like just an audio chat or FaceTime audio, or whatever way of chatting you prefer, just maybe on the phone. Having headphones is a bonus because you don't get a crick in the neck from holding the phone, and while you're chatting, just get on with your task. For example, cleaning the bathroom or folding laundry, and it just goes by so much quicker while you're chatting with a friend. I've also found that I'd be texting back and forth with a friend, and I've caught myself actually procrastinating by doing that, and said, like, this is what I need to get done today, and they'll say this is what I need to get done today, and then we'll just say go, report back later. And you kind of go off and do your job, and you know that you're kind of a little bit accountable because you need to come and report back when you're finished, and you know that they're working alongside you but wherever they are, and it's just a little bit of fun to kind of get through your tasks and check in with them later and say, I've done my job. Tip number 10 is do just enough. How many times does this happen? You're in the kitchen and you notice a drip on the front of one of your kitchen cabinets and you think to yourself, I really need to clean the front of my kitchen cabinets. And it's such a big job that you kind of put it off and it just becomes bigger than it needs to be. Or you notice a dusty shelf and you're like, I really need to dust this room. Or whatever you maybe haven't got around to. It's okay if you just dust that shelf or you just wipe that drip. Yes, you can get around to cleaning all of the kitchen cabinets at another time, but do just enough to keep things ticking over. If you notice a dust bunny, don't think, oh, I need to get the vacuum out and like clean the whole room. Just clean that spot, you know, give it a little sweep up with a dustpan and brush or whatever it needs to keep ticking over until you actually do your deep clean. I vacuum the whole entire house every Monday, and so usually by the weekend, especially over the weekend when my family is coming and going, things can start to look a bit tracked in the dining room. The kitchen floor obviously needs attention before then, but if I'm like, oh, I need to vacuum the whole house, I'll get to that on Monday and put it off because it's a big job. It's just going to stay looking grody in the meantime. But if I do just enough and think I'm just going to whiz around the kitchen with a vacuum, then it keeps looking clean. You don't have to do the whole big job at once. And tip number 11 comes with free downloads for you, and it's a little game that I created when my boys were little, and it's called the house game. I don't actually have it here to show you, so I will link below and in a card up here to my blog post where I explain the game and have the free downloads if you'd like to make your own game. Basically, I took a frame, like just a picture frame, I think it was like a 6x8 picture frame, and I printed the title, The House Game, and then I've got 12 blocks there, and each block represents a task or an area in the house. And they were, 1 was hall, or like the entrance hallway, 2 was my studio, 3 was the lounge, 4 was the kitchen, 5 was the landing, 6 was the bathroom, 7 was the boys' bedroom, 8 was Grant and my bedroom, 9 was laundry, 10 was throw again, 11 was parents' choice, and 12 was vacuuming. So the boys would each take turns to throw the dice. We used to just throw 1 dice until the hallway had been done, because that was obviously number 1. And then after that they would throw 2 dice, and whichever number it fell on, that's what we would do. So let's just say they threw a 5 and a 3, which adds up to 8. We would look at the little house game that I put into this frame and see, oh, 8 is mommy and daddy's bedroom, and we'd go to my room and we'd just tackle that until that was completely finished. So my goal was to keep them moving all the time. So if I was in my bedroom, I'd be making the bed and I'm scanning the room the whole time for little tasks for them. Put these shoes back into the closet, put this into the laundry room, open the curtains for me, whatever kept them busy. And obviously the jobs that you give them will depend on their ages. So if we were in the kitchen, I'd be unloading the dishwasher, they could be wiping down the table, putting away snacks, straightening the chairs, things like that. They felt like it was fair because I was working alongside with them and they were both being given tasks all the time, so nobody's slacking and nobody's getting like a worse task or a better task. And also because we were kind of all just doing it together and racing to see what the next item was going to be on the list, or like who was going to throw the next number, we got things done quickly as well. It also makes it less overwhelming because we're only dealing with 1 room at a time and I'm only giving them 1 task at a time. And it also kept the flow going because they didn't have to think. I was like, okay, do this now, do this now, do this now, and I was working the whole time, so they didn't have to stop and think, okay, what needs doing or what should I tackle next. They were just kept busy. So when I said we're going to play the house game now, they knew that was non-negotiable, but they also knew that we would usually have something fun to do afterwards. We would do a craft, or we'd watch a movie, or we'd go somewhere once the house game was done. So I had a dry erase marker, and once we'd thrown whatever number for that room and done the room, I would cross the room off. And so we just kept throwing the dice until all of the rooms were done. I have, like I said, linked the blog post down below, and you can go there and print your own house game or just use the idea and make your own. It really worked when my kids were little. You can even do it for yourself if you think, oh, this whole house is just looking a bit out of control and I need to tackle most rooms. You could play the house game by yourself if that keeps you going and keeps you guessing which area to go next. I don't know, it's up to you. So those are 11 tips for making housework and chores just a little bit more fun and interesting. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know which ones you think you'll try, and if you have any success getting your kids motivated to do chores. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.